Hello everybody, I'm doing a book review of the first two books in the Lunar Chronicles series, and that is, if I can grab it real fast, Cinder and Scarlet. I actually read these books a while back. I think I finished this one in January, so it's been a while, and I know this review is really late, but I was like, oh, I should probably review the first two books before I read 3 and 4 and the short stories and the little novella type of book. I just remembered that I hit my head on the door, so my head's hurting now, which is not really good. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. This is a fairy tale retelling of 4 different fairy tales for the series. This one is Cinderella, and this one is Little Red Riding Hood. So this takes place in the future. The world has been, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, there was a world war. I think it was a World War like 5 or something like that. 4. So that one left the world in chaos, and this story takes place after we've pretty much rebuilt the world. And this particular book is set in New Beijing, so it's taking place in pictured China, today's China, but clearly affected by a war. Another thing that's happening is there's a plague that is going around that is very deadly, very dangerous. And there are androids in the book and cyborgs, which is why you can see, like, in her foot right here, the character of Cinderella is a cyborg. Her name is Cinder. And also there are people called Lunars. That's why it's called the Lunar Chronicles. In this future, there are people who are from the moon. They live on the moon. They're different than regular ordinary humans, and in fact there's actually something from space here. It says the lunar people watch, and they have powers in a way, and things like that. And I don't know how to describe a little bit unless you read the series. So that's kind of like the world that we're getting set up in the first book. What I think is fun and unique about this particular series is it's like futuristic fairy tales. So it's like fairy tales mixed with science fiction, mixed with one of my favorite anime series, Sailor Moon, mixed with romance and action, and it's just really good. And yes, I think intentionally did Sailor Moon. Let me look for there's like here we did question and answers from the author. Let me do that really fast. Sailor Moon. She mentioned, Firefly. Yeah, Firefly's awesome. Star Wars, so it's kind of like a mush of different things that make it. Here we go. She mentioned Sailor Moon on things that were favorites. I think she talks about, I'm trying to go fast because I don't want to do too much. Okay, anyways, so yeah, there's all those influences which you can clearly see in the book, but Marissa Meyer, that's the name of the author, she does such a good job of using those influences but putting her own spin on it. I really like the uniqueness of each of the characters' voices, because each book is told from, so this book's told from Cinder, this book is told from Scarlet, who's the Little Red Riding Hood character. This book takes place in France. In France. And what's really cool is that on the moon, there's also like these werewolf type of people as well. Like, they're genetic experiments that the queen, who is the evil queen character, Queen Levana, I think that's how you say her name, she's the evil queen character. So in this series, it's Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel, and Snow White that are the fairy tales she's chosen to retell. Like I said, the first 2 books are a little different. I really like I said, the uniqueness of this series. I think it's really great. I really like also how in this book, Cinder, yeah, she's dealing with her step family, her sisters, but you also have a stepsister that really cares for her. That's not done often. I think every once in a while there'll be a retelling of Cinderella where one of the stepsisters is actually nice to Cinderella, and this one is one of them. But she also deals with prejudice just because she's a cyborg, which I think is really fascinating and really interesting. And then by the end of the first book, she finds out something else about her, and that adds even more craziness to her life. I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers because this series is just so good that you guys really should read it. So I really like all these things that she deals with. Another thing is, what's unique about this Cinderella is that she's really gifted at being a mechanic. So she's not just cooking and cleaning for her stepsisters and mother. She actually fixes things. She fixes androids. She fixes the flying cars that they have. Like, if you got a machine that needs to be fixed, she can fix it for you. She's very gifted in that way. And what's also unique is that she doesn't remember anything about her life before she became a cyborg. And we find out why towards the end of the book, but I don't want to give that away. And I really like that. That's a twist. It's a twist. And another twist is that her stepmother and sisters aren't really the stepsisters. They're like her adoptive family, which is another unique twist to the story. Often the father is her biological father, and he remarries. In this story, the father is the biological father of the stepsisters, right? And Cinder is the one that's adopted. So that's really cool. With really fast going to Scarlet. Scarlet is a farmer. Her and her grandmother are farmers. Her grandma used to be in the Air Force way back when, and was awarded medals, which is really cool. A new twist on grandma, right? The grandmother character. I like how they're making the grandma like in a lot of different things, like this tough woman that, you know, puts up a fight, isn't like an old frail granny that she used to be. I like how Scarlet finds out a little bit more about her ancestry in this story as well. That seems to be a common thread for the characters, is finding out about their family and their like genealogy in a way, which is really fun. In this book, you find out a plot by the queen that has to do with like her wolves, which is really cool. Again, really unique to this particular world. Werewolves are often done with Little Red Riding Hood, but they're not really werewolves. They're like genetically mutated people so they're not like bitten, you know, like how werewolves are, they're bitten and the full moon comes. These people have been genetically altered to fit those characteristics of a werewolf, which is really cool and really unique take on not only this fairy tale of the big bad wolf, but also just werewolves in general. What else? Oh, I forgot to mention Cinder is also involved in this story in the second book, so it kind of like it goes from Scarlet to Cinder in a way, but not something that like throws you off or anything. It works really well. Who else? Oh, the Prince Charming character, Prince Kai. Queen Levana wants to marry him, and I think it's interesting that he really doesn't want to marry her, but he's willing to marry her for his people. So it sounds like Prince Kai is going to be a really good royal person in the story. I think he is. I really like his relationship with Cinder and how he looked past her being a cyborg, which I thought was really great for that. And I really liked the building of the romance. I'm hoping it somehow works out and they can end up together. I like them together. I also really like Scarlet and Wolf, who is the werewolf character in the Scarlet story. So I like the couples that she set up. They're really cool, and I really like them together, so I don't have any issues with them. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this series. I think it's super good. I think you should check it out, and I hope my next review of Cress, Winter, and Fairest and Stars Above is a little more detailed. I do apologize for not having too much to say, but it's a good series. Check it out. It's The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Bye.